Kia ora, welcome to episode 2 of the TOGCast with Foxman
and
Gavor. We're back again. This episode 2 in December 25, and we are ready to roll with some more hot takes, amazing opinions, and factual analysis of some really important topics within the gaming and TOG community.
100% factual.
100% factual, exactly. And predictions.
Oh yeah, we are going to make some stuff up.
We are going to make some stuff up, indeed. And Half-Life 3 will be featured.
Yes.
We'll come back to that later, but stay tuned for that because
big announcement.
Massive news. However, for the time being, first of all, thank you everyone who watched the previous episode or downloaded it through our podcast channels. Success has been fantastic. Feedback's been great. So really appreciate everyone's thoughts and feedback on that. Hopefully we can continue making some interesting content as we go forward. But I think we hit the TOG channel went over 100. What did you say? Just
115. 115.
115. There you go.
Not bad.
So big bump in subscribers, which is really cool to see. And the podcast episode has been downloaded a number of times as well, which is great. So really happy with that.
A number. Is there a number? Has it got two numbers in it?
Greater than 0. The exact number is, if you give me one moment, 10.
Ooh, double figures. Well, there we go.
10 downloads on the podcast, which is really cool. Because that was kind of a late addition to the piece.
Last minute thing, 0 marketing.
Yeah. exactly.
The same number, that's the same as our budget, 0.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, very, very good budget there. So yes, episode 2, we've got lots to get through today, but I think first off, we kind of were a bit remiss last time on this actually, and we owe a bit of an apology on that. Game Club. Yes. We didn't talk about Game Club, and we should have, because that's a monthly thing that happens.
Yes.
So Game Club, I know you were quite involved, I think, in the original conception of that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, yes, so I started it. So I actually saw, I think it was on Reddit. I saw a Reddit Game Club where people did exactly this, and I thought, hey, that'd be cool. That'd suit TOG perfectly, a monthly thing, a monthly community thing that people can be involved in or not. And someone was super keen to take it over. FanJam took it over for a while, did a really good job. He was really into it. Unfortunately, he had some personal issues, so he had to step away, and then Moke took it over.
Yes.
And has
He's
similarly
been cranking at it.
Done a fantastic job. Yeah, like he's all over it, coming up with some really good suggestions. So where winds meet.
Yes.
That
was a bit of a, I'm not going to say surprise because it wasn't exactly out of nowhere, but
no.
I think people have been kind of surprised at just what it is.
Yeah, what it turned out to be. It was far more open world than what a lot of people thought. So,
exactly.
Being a Woxia game, I always thought it was going to be popular because, there's a big market for them, not only in China, but also Western markets. I'm not massive on the concept, but I thought I'd give it a go. It was a great opportunity to give it a go, and it's free,
Yes.
So it cost me nothing to get into. It was just massive. It was like 100 gig to install, but still.
It's certainly not a lightweight, that's for sure.
It's becoming the standard to be 3 figures for an install these days. So,
that is true.
I have not played lots because it's just that time of the year. So I've been really busy, and also busy playing other games when I can squeeze things in. But what I did play, I enjoyed. I thought it looked really good, and it ran really well for the way that it looked. I didn't have any complaints. Too many cinematics for me. I tend to skip them, but I did watch them because I wanted to be able to comment on them. So there were lots of them, fairly well made. I was entertained enough. I just didn't like the combat. I don't like that sort of combat.
That's fair.
10 million keys, that doesn't do it for me. I don't know. It's probably because I come and go. So if I did sit down and play for 2 hours, I'm okay. Probably never had the coordination because I've never played a lot of those games with the lots of keys for it. But I struggle because I only come back to it maybe every week to have a go at it. So by the time I come back, you've already done the tutorial's gone. And if I didn't write all the controls, I'm like, I don't remember what all these things are. And if I don't know them all, I'm going to get killed because you've got to go to all those combos. So
exactly. I think my complaints with the game are twofold. Like you, I think it looks fantastic. It runs really well. I think it's a custom engine. I'm not sure what engine it is, but I believe it's in-house. I'm sure one of our listeners/viewers will be able to tell us exactly, but I'm certainly impressed with the visual quality. The performance has been fantastic. But the keys, like you, I find the key combinations really annoying at times, partly because, and I don't know if this is just a me problem or a wider problem, rebinding the keys doesn't seem to work.
Oh.
So the interact key, which I think is G by default, like what sociopath uses G for interact? Like, come on, seriously?
We all know that it's F. F is interact.
Exactly.
And if you're not using F, you're a heathen.
Wrong. There are two types of gamers in this world: those that use F and those that are wrong.
First thing I call out in every single game I open when we first start playing it: if the interact is an F and I can't rebind it, we're not playing this game. It's out.
It's done. It's not a game.
It's the difference. It's the difference between people who played a lot of Half-Life, I find, and people who didn't play a lot of Half-Life. You can pick them because they want F as the interact, as it should be, as God intended. Now,
exactly.
Back to what you were saying. Exactly.
So that was my first real frustration is I rebounded in the menu. I changed it from G to F, but everywhere I go in the world, it still says G, and I can't use F. So that was like frustration. But anyway, I can kind of get past that, right? It's just an annoyance, and it's probably a me problem not understanding something. But the other thing I found annoying about the game is the menus. Oh my God, so many menus to get to different things. Just simplify the menus, please.
I know you hate menus.
Spend 10 minutes. Oh, I just find it because to me at least, it just pulls me straight out of that game, straight out of the world. I'm running around, I'm talking to these characters. You're typing into the chat to talk with characters. Like, that's fucking cool, man. Actually having these pseudo conversations of sorts with NPCs, which is really funky. And then you could bring up a menu, and it's like, oh, fucking. And then this menu, and then this menu, and then this menu. It's like, okay, cool. Now I've just kind of lost where I was. And it just pulls me out of the moment. I don't enjoy that. But the actual moment-to-moment gameplay in terms of the open world, great. The combat, I'm a bit like you. I find that, I don't know, to me it feels clunky, and that's probably just because I don't understand the combination, the combat combinations properly. I've seen a lot of people say, use a controller. I'm a stubborn old prick. I don't want to use a controller because I've got a keyboard and mouse, right? I'm so used to moving this camera with a mouse. To me, moving a camera with a thumbstick just feels really awkward and unusual. So
you get used to it.
I'm annoying like that.
I still use
but again,
my keyboard.
I just don't play it enough.
Yeah, no, same thing. I still use my keyboard. I could use the controller. I didn't want to. Yeah, I don't play it enough. It's that type of game too. So it's But it seems to be a bit of again, I say surprise hit, but I don't think it really has been a surprise necessarily. Lots of people were hyped about it. It's been talked about for a long time. Pseudo MMO/RPG/co-op. But success-wise, it seems to be doing really well. So I'd like to see more of this type of game. There's some really innovative ideas in there. There's some really cool mechanics that they've put together around the social interactions, which has long been a really tricky thing to do in a game. And they seem to be, some of it's a bit awkward, but it's a really cool idea to explore those interactions more in a way that people can actually play as part of the world. Really cool. So I'll probably give it a bit more time. Me too. Yeah. Solo. It seems to support solo well, so I am happy to keep going with solo.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the last word is, look, it is popular. It's apparently, I'm looking at SteamDB, obviously. I'll have to pull all my sources out of here. 90,000 people playing at the moment.
Gee, that's not bad.
It's not bad numbers, considering I think you look at Battlefield 6 now.
Non-peak time.
It's non-peak time. Battlefield numbers earlier when I looked was about 122,000. So stacks up pretty well against something like Battlefield 6. And 87% positive rating on Steam.
That's really good. Yeah,
solid.
That I would say is a very, very good result for a first showing. I think from this developer, is it? I know it's the publisher was it NetEase, who don't have the greatest reputation necessarily for monetization and so on. Yeah, NetEase. But they seem to be a little bit, I won't say hands off necessarily, but a little bit more relaxed about this one. I didn't find any egregious money grubbing type scenarios popping up anywhere. So that's really encouraging too.
Yep. No, I'd heard that was pretty much in the background.
No,
it's doing well. So I would encourage people to give it a go. There's still half a month to go and have a look at it, and I think it's worth having a look at. So I
agree. I think it is definitely worth having a look at.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, the other one, of course, is Guild Wars Reforged, of which I have no opinion. So I'm gonna step out of this one. I've not played Guild Wars since Guild Wars 1 came out so long ago. I don't even know how old I was, and it was one of those games I loved for about 3 weeks, and then immediately turned against when I got to a certain point of the game. I went, well, that's enough. I'm not enjoying this anymore, and I stopped playing it. And I've never played Guild Wars since. So
Guild Wars Reforged is basically Guild Wars 1 repackaged with the core expansions basically added under a single price. Some minor visual updates. I think they've added some lighting updates and a few little bits and pieces. And apparently they're going to have some more updates in the future. So Guild Wars 1 is kind of being revitalized, I guess. The fact that it's now a single price for the 3 main expansions or the 3 main games is really cool. So if you haven't played it before, now's a great time to jump into it. It is a fantastic game. Single player / co-op. It was touted as a sort of an easy access MMO. You can create parties with NPC bots that form your little combat group in a sense, co-op with other players, of course. And it's a really fun game if you like customizing your character's combat builds, different abilities. There's so many different combinations that you can create with these character traits and classes and so on. I haven't played Reforged a great deal, unfortunately, because I recently kind of jumped back into Guild Wars 2 a little bit. The sequel, which is now, 13 years old, funnily enough.
Yep.
And I've been enjoying that, but Guild Wars 2 is massively different in terms of gameplay to Guild Wars Reforged. They're fundamentally different games, but the universe is still fun to explore, so I enjoy that. And I'm looking forward to going back and revisiting Guild Wars 1, quote-unquote 1, in the new Reforged title over the holiday break. So, yeah, I'm keen to get stuck in.
Yep. Sorry, I can't really comment. Other than
fair.
I did play Guild Wars 2, maybe not this year, maybe last year. Went back and gave it a go because I'd never played it. I played about an hour, and I'm not going to lie, I hated it. I'm not an MMO person.
No, fair enough.
It took me a long time to get into anything at all, and it had all the usual MMO stuff. So if you're into MMOs, great. If you're not, it's not going to change your mind. I thought it was horrible.
It's a very accessible game if you like MMOs and a bit of action combat. But if you're not into that style of gameplay, it's a non-starter.
It's never going to change my mind. That. And look, if you wanted to try to change my mind about something by doing a hard sell of it, you would go and do it on segue coming up, Discord stages.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hadn't even worked on that. Anyway, so Discord stages, we've only just started using it on TOG. I asked quite a while ago, and I wouldn't have been the first one, how can I just stream my gameplay to a TOG audience? Because I don't want to go on Twitch and dick around with all of that quite often. I just want to chuck my game up and let people watch what I'm doing without them being in a voice chat with me. I don't want to have to worry about talking to people or them have to worry about, just say hello or talk about it. You just want to watch what they're doing. So the admin team went off and I helped them test. They set up stages. So we finally got stages working and worked out how we could best use it. And so that, in concert with our voice channel management software that we've got. Yeah, so we got both of those up and running and did documented them to get out to the community. And I think I've seen stages used by a few people. It basically means that you can kick off like a presentation where you're the one streaming to a group in a particular channel, and you can be, I think you can do it from a voice channel, and then it will kick off, and people will just come and join it, and they're just watching. That's all. They can't participate. You can invite them to participate, so you can have multiple people, in the chat while you're streaming the video, and then everybody else is just watching, obviously not able to interrupt or anything. So I've seen, especially the racing guys have used it. I wouldn't mind using it for some of the things that I do, or for some of the things that we do, I guess. When you talk about, you could use it for armor, you could use it for...
Absolutely.
Yeah, the only problem with the voice is that we use something else for voice, use TeamSpeak, or you could use it for, I don't know, War Thunder, if you wanted to bore people with War Thunder. I guarantee it won't be boring.
We'll come back to that.
There'll be a lot of sledging and shouting and anger.
Absolutely.
And we still play it. But I think it fit exactly the bill that I was after. And that, of course, spurred a bit of a rethink about how we do the permissions stuff with that plugin for the voice. And that has also been quite good because it allows you to lock down a channel to a number of players. And to give people different permissions, and it's just things that people are after. I use War Thunder again because it's a set number, right? 4 people or Dark Tide. It's 4 people that you can have in a group.
Exactly.
So you just want to go and start one with 4 people, so 4 people can join you, and then no one else can come along, or you can have other people come along, but they can't, talk, or participate or whatever.
That's the challenge, isn't it? You have your squad of 4 at Dark Tide and War Thunder, a perfect example. Squad of 4. you want to share the video, the streaming with other people. But of course, if they join in the channel, then you have this cross chatter and background noise when you're trying to make calls or rage at some clown for pushing you out of cover in War Thunder, or a horde is coming in Darktide or whatever. And so having the stage ability to keep the number of people talking to the four involved in the game, but allow others to watch and participate and, ask questions and chat, maybe, great idea. I think it's probably something we should have explored a lot sooner. Had we really thought about it a bit more. But it's there now, and I'm keen to see others start getting stuck into it.
Yeah, use the stages. Got a couple of setups, so you can just go and set your own up. Just start your own. People got permissions.
Exactly, and the voice channel creator. Most of our regular listeners probably be well aware of the voice channel creator. We've got a number of channels in the Discord. You just join the voice chat and it will automatically create and move you to your own channel, which you can then modify as needed.
You can change
fantastic little tool.
Yeah,
exactly. It means that you've got a nice, quick and easy way to create these channels on demand for whatever game you're playing at the time. Anybody can join, or you can restrict it so that it's only people who are in that game. So lots of flexibility. And obviously, if members have feedback on these things, then please let us know. Jump into the office forum or just ping one of us in the general chat channel and let us know your thoughts on these things.
Comments on the video.
Comments,
ideal. Great engagement. Like, subscribe, do the notifications thing, all that sort of stuff. I'm not going to put anything on the screen. You know what to do.
No.
And other Discord news, of course, there was Discord Checkpoint, which came out, which just sort of, I found that it dropped unexpectedly. I didn't know it was coming.
There was no news.
Places do this recap of your year, right? So Spotify do it. I don't have Spotify, but YouTube Music do it. I have them. Who else does it? Does YouTube themselves do it? Steam obviously does it.
Deezer, which is the music app I use, they have a similar sort of annual recap type thing, showing me that I was in the top 0.1% of streamers for Ice Pressure. So that was kind of good/bad. I don't know.
Yep. So you and that other guy from Denmark.
Exactly, the two of us, between the two of us, accounted for 90%. But yes, Checkpoint, as you say, just kind of bounced in out of nowhere, all of a sudden splashed up on the screen going, holy shit, what the hell's this? I think the only thing of note really is if you have your privacy settings locked down, you probably won't see it. If you change your privacy settings after you've received the checkpoint, it will go away and you can't get it back. But quite a cool little recap of your year in Discord, I guess.
People you played, so the people you talk to. People you talk to,
that's right.
Your top 3 people that you spent time with, your sidekick, your number of hours. So for my number of voice hours, I was the most out of my group of friends that I shared the stats with by a considerable margin. I apparently invoice half of my life, which it does feel like it sometimes. And my sidekick was another friend of mine who is only sort of a member of TOG, but he'll be watching this. Hello, Raptor. You are my sidekick from Discord. And who was your sidekick again?
You were my sidekick. Funnily enough.
So saddened, so disappointed.
Not reciprocated. I know where I stand in this friendship. It's fine.
Don't feel. Don't feel.
I'm not at all bitter at all.
No. Don't feel left out or anything. I just like him more. No, I've just known him for about 30 more years. So
I think that's fair. Yeah, that's justifiable.
That makes the difference.
A very cool little feature. Some random stats that I never really thought of. The number of hours in voice, to me, it's just second nature. Jump into a voice channel, away you go. 100%. Oh shit, that's 400 hours. Jesus,
at least 400 hours. So, look, if you've got yours, feel free to share your biggest stat in the comments. More engagement.
See if you can beat 551 hours in voice.
Oh, was that you?
I think that was mine, 550. I can't go back and check it, but it was 500 and something anyway. Let me know if anyone's got higher than 550. I'll be keen to see if I have less of a life than I thought.
I'm going to make a note. I've got a notepad to make manual notes here. I'm going to put my voice chat stats in the comments. I'm probably over prepared. You want us to talk about Ashes of Creation early access launch. Again, I don't know anything about this game at all. Like, you put it into the notes and I went, I've never heard of that. So
no, again, it's MMO, so I'm not surprised it's not on your radar. Right. It's like you've heard of EverQuest, right? The one of the old school 3D MMOs, which was the heyday of classic MMORPGs where you'd grind for 4 years to make half a level and then die and have to run for 10 hours to get your corpse kind of thing. There was an element of fun to that, but there was also an element of bloody masochism around it all as well. But for many, many, many years, there have been a number of communities, or just sort of MMO community in general, that have been lamenting the loss of the classic MMO. World of Warcraft was obviously I guess, the precursor to the modern theme park style MMOs, and there are a couple of efforts that have gone through Kickstarter, for example, and Ashes of Creation is probably, correct me if I'm wrong here, folks, probably the most successful so far in terms of exposure, popularity, etc. They've been in beta and alpha testing for a number of years now, and just launched on early access in Steam just a few days ago, in fact. But as with so many of these projects, it has been marred by technical issues, server and queue login issues, instability of being able to connect at all. And that obviously has a real downstream effect where that first impression, I think the review on Steam currently is negative. So, first impressions, not great if you're trying to get into the game as a newcomer. But in terms of the actual gameplay itself, once you ignore all of the technical stuff, a couple of our regular folks in TOG, Distinct Mint and Myth, I think, please forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, are both quite keen on the game and have played it in the past outside of Steam. And the general consensus seems to be that the gameplay is pretty solid, has some really good mechanics for that classic MMO style gameplay. It's just the technical back end seems to be suffering under the Steam launch, and I don't know. I'm not sure that Ashes of Creation is for me. I think that so-called golden era of MMOs for me is dead and buried. I just don't have the time in my life to spend in a game of that type anymore.
Yep.
But I hope it succeeds, because there is clearly a market for it. There is clearly a population demanding that type of game. And so far, for the better part of 20 years, give or take, 15 years, say, that market hasn't been delivered. And so, I hope it succeeds, but it's...
The numbers, look, the numbers say it's doing okay, right? So it's got a mixed 57% is positive.
Oh, okay, that's better. That's better.
It's not bad for a game that just came out, had some technical issues, and everybody would have clowned on it straight away, like, oh, shit, I can't get into it. People love doing that. Like, and people even love going, oh, good, the game's great, but the connectivity issues are annoying, so I'm going to rate it as negative because there's no middle ground, so you got to factor some in.
No, exactly.
And their all-time peak was, when did it actually come out? So it was released a couple of days ago, 3 days ago, right?
3 days ago, yeah.
Still going up, right? All-time peak was in the last 24 hours. So the numbers are still increasing, and that was 31,000. So 31,800 people. 799 people.
Pretty good.
Not bad numbers.
I stand partly corrected. I thought it was doing a bit worse than that.
No, so the numbers are there. People are obviously interested. So those who are into that sort of thing, maybe it's something worth checking out. Go and have a look. Why not go and have a look? It's not for me, but my MMO play peaked in Ultima Online. That was my thing. So but if you love that sort of thing, go for it. It does look very old school.
As I say, there's really nothing else on the horizon currently that fills that classic MMO niche. So really, if that's the type of MMO experience you enjoyed, the EverQuest, Saga of Heroes, toolbars, the old Sony, ill-fated Sony one, those classic era of MMOs, then this may well be the ticket. And check it out. The gameplay apparently is really still quite good, even if those technical issues are holding it back. Hopefully they can get it sorted over the next week before the holiday period. Have a look, see if it's in your wheelhouse, and jump into the channels with the other guys and get into it.
Reach out to them, link up, get in and have a look.
But on a more positive note than the potentially rough start for Ashes of Creation, Absolute Debacle Racing had a pretty good time of it last week, I think.
Last few rounds, I've watched a couple of races. I've watched part of one race live. I think they've been streaming some racing onto there. So there's the last 3 rounds of Gentlemens SimRacing or something is the league that they're a part of. So that's round 8, 9, and 10. So Kahiri is the one that races, and he's been in every race, I think. So he's obviously driving. This is his thing. I reached out to him this morning just to double check all the numbers. He came 18th in round 8. And he came 13th in round 9. So I actually watched a fair chunk of that this morning, of the round 9 race, because he was doing quite well. And in round 10, he came 17th. So again, pretty good showing, because this is about where they're qualifying too. So they're playing against the guys who pretty done this for longer, take this extremely seriously. So they're known names. If you go into these races, the guys in the top get talked about a lot. They talk about how they won this race and they were in this series, so this is obviously something that they do like their sport. So to get those results, to qualify around about there, and I think they generally finish the races above where they qualified, so they are, they are actually getting through the pack a little bit.
And the fact that our chaps are competing in the middle of the pack there and cranking their way up the tier is fantastic to see. I love it.
Making it through the races. It's not for me.
Bloody
Behind,
good.
oh, you can't see. It's just above my G27
above
wheels.
you,
Still up there. Never gets a run anymore. I've got a gamepad to play.
My USB hubs off to my right here are still not plugged in, so mine's not working either.
Yours is way more serious than mine. I've got a gamepad and I play BeamNG in the multiplayer.
BeamNG.
Nowadays when I want to do some racing. We'll have to talk about that next time. Not this time. It's not going to fit in. Too big a list of things to talk about.
Put a pin in that one. Yep.
So look, well done, Absolute Debacle Racing, and we'll touch base on where they're at in the next podcast. We'll see if we can keep up
in
with
the new year. Yeah,
maybe we'll even get Kahiri to come in. Kahiri loves to talk about racing. Maybe we'll get him to come in and tell us about it sometime.
We should. Yes.
Like we need to find more ways to pad this out.
Still
anyway, shall we move on to the review segment? Imagine that there's like a cool segue here with a title and some music, and it says review segment, but we're not going to do that because it's a podcast. Come on, camera. My camera's doing its thing. As soon as the advertising dollars roll in. Destiny 2. Let's talk about Destiny 2. So
that is an interesting title.
I asked Destiny 2 state of the game. There was another DLC that came out just a few days ago, maybe a week ago, which
very recent.
Yeah, it was hard to get a feeling for what the current state of the game was, just apart from looking at raw numbers and what people thought. So I'll run through this bit and then I'm gonna pass it over to you. But I got some feedback from Tombstone and from Lucas. But just before that, it's rated fairly positively. So Destiny 2 overall still has a mostly positive, but if you look at the recent reviews, that's how Steam splits them up. Gives you a recent and an overall. The recent ones,
30 days, I think, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. It does say underneath the number. I can't remember, but it's mixed. So there was a big bump. There was only about 18,000 players playing it between the last DLC, and obviously it dropped off, and it was quite a steep drop off. I think it was the lowest numbers all year, or very close to the lowest numbers all year after that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, until the new DLC came out. So the DLC is like a crossover with Star Wars, basically a lot of Star Wars themed stuff, but it doesn't specifically call it out. And that's
so it's a copy, not an actual licensed tie-in as such.
I think it kind of is, but it doesn't use Star Wars words. So it's
okay.
It's called Renegades. So the pop went up to about 71k, and it's gone up and down a little bit. It's still about 60k. So there has been a bit of a bump, but the numbers are down on what previous DLC releases were, especially the last one, which now I can't remember what it's called. I meant to note it down, I forgot, but it doesn't matter. Renegades itself has mixed feedback, but a lot of it was comments about soft locks, so issues with missions, soft locking you so you couldn't continue. And also the pricing, because it is, and I don't know how to sugarcoat this, $60 Australian to buy the one DLC, which is
a DLC.
Thievery. But that is a lot of sausages and bread at Bunnings. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Tombstone said, as for the state of the game, it's not looking great for Destiny, because they felt it was the lowest peak numbers for a new season pretty much ever. And if you do look at the peaks, it is pretty close to that. It wasn't noticeable bump, but not humongous. All the new things do look amazing and very Star Wars and very cool, but it's not really dragging them back in again. And already thinking about what's the next game, and the next dungeon hasn't even dropped yet. But, and I was going to say this, it sounds like the Praxic Blade, which everybody just calls a lightsaber, because it's a lightsaber, it totally is. Apparently, it is the greatest thing that Bungie has ever done, and please don't change that. Apparently, the Stronghold Titan with the saber is the most fun they've had for a really long time. And obviously said doesn't need a nerf, just leave it alone, because murdering people, that was awesome.
What a pedigree. Halo series, Destiny 1, Destiny 2. No, the lightsaber.
Bring it in. Everyone loves a good machination. Lucas said the player counts were not what they needed to be for financial continuation. They can't see Bungie having a good time after this release. Well, he hasn't kicked off what they thought it would kick off. I think the end of the Light and Dark saga was a natural finish. I think that was a natural finish. That was the high point this year when that came out.
Right.
That last DLC, which I haven't actually played. Anything this here is kind of pushing shit uphill. So there are also rumors that Destiny 3 is in the works. So I'm going to call it Destiny 3 confirmed.
Yep.
Release in
Works for me.
2027.
You heard it here first.
100%. You heard it here first. Release in 2027. If you want it to be more precise than that, summer 2027.
Oh, bold.
Yeah,
Not saying which hemisphere, so that's still an open-ended.
Yes, I'm good at this. I'm getting good at this. As for the current content specifically, it's apparently fun, and the Lawless Frontier, which I had a couple of looks of videos of people playing on there, are fun to play and have pretty engaging stuff. So interesting to what the season will put up on top, and I just wanted to make sure I called out the Titan best, because I think I'll get a few points for that.
Yeah, yep, that's fair.
Titan best. Yep, all the rest of them are rubbish.
Cool.
I actually don't play a Titan, but anyway.
Yeah, that's an interesting kind of mix of feedback and thoughts there, isn't it? The fact that the state of the game overall is perhaps not in a good spot, yet some of the new content is being received really well. I mean, how do you kind of take that goodwill and put it back into bolstering the game's fortunes for the future? I don't know. I think we talked about this briefly earlier, but I played Destiny 2 several years back. I think when it first came onto PC/Steam, was it when it went free to play? I think it was. I forget the exact transition, but anyway, I played it. It was great. I was having fun, going through the story campaign and all that sort of stuff. I put it aside for a while, came back several months later, and all of that was gone. And I had zero clue what was going on, because all of that structure that I was used to around this is my objective and all this was just gone. The whole, what do they call it? Vaulting it, isn't it? They sort of take the content and lock it away somewhere. And that put me off. I never touched it again. I was just like, if this is how they're going to run the game, I don't know that I'm really keen on that.
Yep, that's how they run the game. So, as per season, things get taken away.
And I've seen quite a lot of negative feedback around that practice from a lot of people. They buy an expansion, and then 2 expansions later, that first expansion is now no longer available. I mean, that doesn't sit right with me from a consumer standpoint, let alone a gameplay standpoint. It seems a really shitty move, but it seems it has worked for them, I suppose, in some capacity. I don't quite understand the rationale for doing it in the first place, to be perfectly honest. I don't know if they've ever offered an actual explanation or not, but I can't really see any sound way of justifying it. It doesn't sound like you're a prick.
It's tougher and tougher to get into Destiny if you are sort of coming at it relatively new at the moment, or even I've probably got a couple of 100 hours. 2, maybe 3. I couldn't tell you because I played it across different platforms with a couple of different characters. So a few years ago, I came back in and went, okay, cool, I might continue on with stuff I've got and then I'll grab the new DLC. But all of the stuff I'd done previously was gone because there have been several seasons. And the only real content was the opening missions, which you could quite often get to before you buy the DLC. So you play the intro bit without the DLC, right? And that was it.
Yeah.
I found it hard to get into anything else. Like there wasn't really any other content in there unless I bought something else, because everything else had been archived away and vaulted away, right?
Yeah.
So that really put me off for a really long time until recently I came back and played some. So I don't know, like that's I was more interested in the opinions of people who have continued to play and have played way more than me, because they'll know what's going on. Me coming in at the moment, I'm clueless. I end up going to the same big arena areas and just playing the arena, the random arena events, and just playing the hell out of them, because I just like running around and shooting stuff and save the campaign and play with friends, which is very intermittent. So I should get back.
Yeah, and I think the other issue that Destiny has now, after the first game and obviously the second game with the length of time they've been out, is that the density of the lore and the story, and the fact that some of that stuff has been locked away. I think if you were coming into it and wanting a story-driven experience, or to understand, actually explore the universe, I think that's quite a daunting prospect to try and jump in these days and really actually understand what the actual fuck is going on right now.
I don't even bother.
In terms of story and lore, I got no idea.
I've skipped all of the cutscenes in the last few days, so I have none of it means anything to me. It's like name salad. It's always, this person did this portentous thing, and then something else happened to that person. Now it's this person, and that person is an ally. And I'm like, what? I don't even know who the first person was. Like,
just point me in the direction of where I need to start shooting, and I'll start shooting.
Shoot. Yep.
Job done.
I'm good at shooting things. Hopefully it's just a lead into Destiny 3, which will be a nice new clean slate and people can get on board. And who knows? Anyway, who
knows?
We'll touch on that another day.
We'll come back to that at some point, I'm sure.
Absolutely. So last on my reviews thing is there were a number of racing games that came out. I wanted to talk about the racing games because a racing group is quite big, very active. They love to talk about their hardware. I didn't want to get into the hardware side because I am clueless, and you'll be able to talk about it for hours on end. At which point I'll just turn my camera off and have a nap.
We can have a feature on that.
You can have your own feature. You can have a breakout feature like the Foxman cast, and you can just talk about that because I will fall asleep.
Fair enough.
It's not for me. However, I do like a good racing game. I do play BMMP or BMNG. Just BMMP is the multiplayer, but 3 new games came out. One of them was called Rensport, one of them was called Project Motor Racing, and another one was Assetto Corsa Rally. I'm going to mix this up. Please feel free in the comments to tell me I'm wrong, but the first one that came out was the rally game. So Assetto Corsa Rally, good numbers. I played Assetto Corsa. It's a good racing game. It's a bit too much for me. I'm a bit of a pleb. I spend most of my time crashing and amusing myself, really. So I'm not the sort of person you race with seriously. It however had a 48-hour peak of 1,488, so 1,488 players. It's pretty good for a racing game, like for a one that isn't being used for competitions or leagues, as far as I know. Very positive feedback, not just from what I saw on Steam, but very positive feedback from the guys at TOG. So they all picked it up and played it. I think Dexterous Weaver was playing it, and Kiri was playing it. Shrubbo might have been playing it. So all the regular guys. I'm sure Ninja was playing because he loves a good rally game, and he's even involved in real life racing, including rallies and marshalling stuff for tarmac racing. So
he posts some pretty cool photos from time to time.
Big on that sort of thing. Always been big in the car scene. So they've all played it. They all gave some positive feedback. I won't read out any of what they wrote because I'm going to be honest, I didn't write it down and I can't use Discord now because I'm busy recording off of it. However, the other 2, Rensport, I didn't know anything about, so I had to have a bit of a look at it. That apparently has some really egregious shopifying, moneyifying. It's like they've got skins for cars or something along those lines, decals and whatnot. So they, not very good. Mixed reviews for Rensport. So 48-hour peak of 125 players, which is pretty dismal for the amount of money they probably poured into that. Project Motor Racing, very similar. So 376 players in the last 48 hours is the peak, which is fairly average. Interestingly, it has mostly negative reviews, so it wasn't really well received at all. Although one person in TOG said they played it, but a lot of YouTubers have bagged on both of these games for all of their different faults. But it's interesting that Project Motor Racing has at least made some headway into the market. 400 players for a racing game is not great, but it's also not terrible given that it's mostly negative. So and it's a niche within a niche, really. So I guess that's not terrible, but the reviews certainly aren't good. And Project Motor Racing, interesting, it was published by Giant Software, who are of farming simulator fame. Now, Giant Software have a bit of a reputation as being somewhat, how do I put this politely, cut and paste style developers. They've been promising proper multi-screen support in their farming simulator game for the better part of 10 years, and it still hasn't happened. And they reuse assets. It's just, it's very much the yearly release type thing, although it's every couple of years, I suppose, but superficial upgrades at best. So it's interesting to see them dipping their toes into what is a quite different product to what they're familiar with, even if it's just as a publisher. So, that was an interesting little connection that I hadn't actually noted before that one launched. So, of the 3 though, Rally definitely seems to be the one that is leading the pack in terms of good one. Going to be sticking around, longevity. Look, great pedigree, right? So you couldn't see them screwing that game up, and people love a good rally game. So
it's the 4th now. We've got the original Assetto Corsa, which is an incredible game if you're into racing and you want to be able to set up your own races and customizing with mods and things. The community tools around that are superb. Then you've got, of course, Assetto Corsa Competizione, which is the GT4 Kahiri will tell me if I'm wrong, I'm sure. GT4 League, I think it is. Then you've got Assetto Corsa Evo, which is their new open world / track racer.
That's right, yeah.
Effectively replacing Assetto Corsa 1. And now, of course, we've got Rally. So it's definitely a pretty solid franchise with a lot of good backing behind it.
Yeah, no, and good on them. I'm glad that came out and everybody's enjoying it. It's fantastic. And look, I hope they can keep building on that. And yeah, kind of look forward to watching some of them having a race in it. You know,
absolutely.
Eventually,
yeah.
be good fun.
Definitely. Yeah.
Let's talk some absolute facts. Let's talk truth. I'm going to throw it to you for a little bit because you've listed some really interesting topics here, which I think you might know a little bit more than me about. I'm only going to nod along and go, yeah, I'm aware of them, but not in great detail. So
fair enough. Well, the first thing of note, which is a bit of a niche piece of news, a lot of people perhaps aren't aware of this as being something that happened in the last week. Tim Cain of Fallout fame, so the creator of the original Fallout franchise back in the days, before it, most people these days probably know of Fallout as being Bethesda and obviously the new Amazon TV series. But the Fallout franchise dates back to the early 90s. Even earlier than that, if you look at the pedigree back to Wasteland, which was, I think, very early 90s, late 80s. So it has a very, very long history, which is often forgotten about these days in the modern gaming discourse. But Tim Cain, who used to work with Obsidian and retired a few years back, has officially confirmed he is now out of retirement, back at Obsidian, working on a secret game. Now, Obsidian, of course, are probably most known for Fallout New Vegas. Was one of their pinnacle moments, I guess. And they've had a number of other games since then. We've had Pillars of Eternity, we've had Avowed, we've had Tyranny, I think it was. I'm going to get some of these wrong, but there's been a whole swathe of games that they've released over the last few years. Some of them have been really, really well received. Others have been a bit middling. Avowed, I think, was perhaps not quite so well received this year.
I liked Avowed.
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it for what it is, and I didn't have, Skyrim-like expectations going into it. So it scratched the itch for me. But Tim Cain obviously has a pretty strong pedigree in the industry. So I'm interested to see what happens. I'm interested to see what Obsidian is working on. Slipped under the radar, I think, in the grander gaming news of the last few weeks, because there has been some pretty huge news in the last few weeks, and segue into hardware this time. But, oh my God, has anybody looked at the price of RAM these days? Back in my day, the price of RAM was...
Yeah, very affordable.
Very affordable. I upgraded my PC earlier this year, and my goodness, I am so pleased I did, because looking at the prices now, the cost would be nearly double.
What'd you buy? So what'd you get? What'd you get at the start of the year? It's still a comparison.
Start of the year.
I'm looking at RAM prices right now. I'm going to admit I have not actually looked for a while. I know that they've shot up, but I have not actually physically looked to see how much they are.
So when I did my upgrade, I got a 32 gigabyte kit, so 2 times 16 gigabytes. I considered going more, but budget-wise and actual use case, it didn't make sense. So 32 gigabyte kit, and it cost me, I think at the time, it was about $220. The same kit now, we're now 7 months later. The same kit now is pushing $500.
Wow. Jeez.
And I think based on information from Gamers Nexus, the YouTube hardware review / consumer channel, he did a video a couple of weeks ago, not even that actually, but discussing this very topic, the price of RAM and the causes behind it. And on average, I think he saw that prices were going up somewhere in the region of 150 to 250% over the course of 60 to 70 days, which is just insane. And the cause of this, of course, is our good friend AI, or more specifically, data centers. Some folks, if you've been looking at the hardware industry in the last few weeks, would have seen the news that Micron, who are the parent company of brand Crucial, which is was a major player in the consumer market, have announced they're exiting the consumer market. So all of a sudden, there is a major supplier of memory direct to the consumer pulling out. Now, what's also interesting, of course, is that Crucial/Micron is one of 3 primary memory producers in the world. The other 2 being SK Hynix, I think it is, and Samsung, if I'm not mistaken. Micron, I think, make up about 40% of the manufacturing output, which means that all of those third-party brands, G-Skill, Corsair, Team Group, all those other brands that produce consumer RAM are buying their memory from one of these 3 companies.
Yeah.
So the question now is, Micron are saying they're exiting the consumer market with Crucial. Are they still going to be supplying memory to their third-party vendors? Because they have said that their intention is to focus on enterprise and data center. Apparently, and I would have to double check the source on this, but I believe their entire memory production for 2026 is effectively sold, as in they've got buyers potentially lined up, I believe. If that's the case, are we going to see some of these third-party memory brands priced out of the market simply because they cannot buy memory chips for their products? Which then leads into a bigger question. How is that going to affect affordability of home computing? Home computing has famously been accessible for the better part of 30 years now. But if components like this, and this doesn't just affect RAM, this is GPUs using video memory, of course, from NVIDIA. And we all know what's happening with them with regards to data centers and AI.
Yeah.
The money go round. And of course, solid state drives. Any sort of solid state drive, NVMe drives. And of course, this also flows into things like mobile phones, cars, smart appliances, home integration, home automation, anything that has any sort of flash memory or rapid access memory of that type is potentially going to be affected by this, not just in price, but availability. How is the consumer market going to look in another 12 months' time?
Good point.
Is the AI bubble going to burst and save us from this nightmare?
Yeah, we used to pay exorbitant prices for GPUs, right? Because they were all being used for crypto mining.
Mining. Now it's AI. Yeah, same shit, different brand, right?
Yeah, 100%. Another part impacted. So what do you do? Yeah, I'm looking at the prices of all the different RAM now. So yeah, you can't get 32 gig for much cheaper than $500.
No, it's a bit scary, and certainly the GPU, for example, the 5090 here in New Zealand is over $5,000 last time I checked. Not everyone needs a 5090, of course, but when you're talking $2,500 even just for a 5070 Ti, which is considered kind of middle of the range for high resolution gaming these days. That's a lot of coin to be dropping on a single piece of hardware for your computer, and if you then have to add another $500 to $1,000 for your RAM.
Remember when video cards were $2,000 was an exorbitant amount of money. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. That's right.
No, it wasn't. The last card I bought was my 6800 XT. Yeah, it's not like they've got cheaper.
As long as you can.
Oh, I'd have to. Like, where am I going to get the money to replace it now? I think I said at the time, I'll be keeping this for at least 3-4 years, easy, and then I'll look at the next upgrade path from there.
You had EVGA pull out of the GPU market a couple of years ago, which of course is yet another third-party brand that potentially means that prices start shifting upwards. Nvidia doesn't give a toss about consumer market because it's less than 10. Well, I think it's even less than a single-digit percentage of their overall earnings. So
it's less than a single digit. So they don't care about consumer market anymore. They've moved on from that. So they're all about enterprise and data centers and AI. And they have been since crypto was big, right? They just started shoveling things out that they did want to market to those people. So unfortunately, I mean, I've used AMD for a really, really long time, so that doesn't bother me. But what's stopping AMD from doing the same thing?
Well, that's just it, isn't it?
Anyway, well, look, we'll see where that goes.
That's going to be one to watch because I think the ramifications of that really are yet to be seen. We've got a lot of water to go under the bridge yet, or in this case, a lot of water to go through the data centers before we really see the full impact of how this is going to really deal with our daily lives.
Your drinking water powering terrible AI that gives you all the wrong answers. Before we move on to the next thing, actually, this is a natural. I wasn't going to tell this story, but I will tell this story. I, like all corporate drones, where I work is big on AI, so they really want to push AI, right? That's what they're all about.
I can relate.
I'm not going to get into it because it'll make me very angry, but the point is that obviously a big push to use it, so Copilot being the thing that they want us to use because we're a Microsoft house. I try to use it. I want to look like I'm making some sort of an attempt. let it do its thing, and then compared the results to what would happen if I'd just done it myself, and you find yourself prefixing it. But I had to use, well, it didn't really have to, but I decided I was going to use Copilot for something at work the other day. And I've had this experience before. I asked it a question. I didn't really know the answer, and it gave me what I immediately thought sounded somewhat plausible, but not quite right. So I went and looked into it, dug into the platform that I work with, and found that what it had told me was complete and utter bullshit. Like, it was just wrong, completely wrong. And so I called it out for that fact, and I said, look, you've got it completely wrong. Why are you telling me this? And it said, oh, no, actually, you know what? I'm really sorry. I'm basing this on old information. But the real answer is this. And then it gave me a different answer, and I went and looked that up, and I was getting this feeling by now. And that was also wrong, like completely wrong. It wasn't even talking about options that are in that platform, right? It was taking the sources that it goes and pulls into its model and just mashing them together for answers from different platforms. If you went down to the sources, you could see there was answers from other platforms that it was taking part of, and then mashing them together with this platform's sort of interface and UI to come up just making something up, hallucinating as they do, right?
It's all right, mate.
That is how
got a little bit of chatter in the audience.
That is how upset the audience is about this. So I tried this about 4 times, maybe 5 times. I kept going back and forward. Hello. Oh, he's okay. All right. So I went back and forth, and it kept on telling me the wrong thing, and I kept on calling it out. And every time it would say, oh, no, you're right. That is actually wrong. And it would eventually cycle back to the first answer, and it gave me the first wrong answer again as well. Here's what it actually is. And like, you already told me that, and that is 100% wrong. Do you know what you're talking about? And also every time it would give me an excuse and blame it on something else, which was so bizarre. That. Like, it was passing the buck. It wasn't like, I'm doing it wrong. It was always, things might have changed in the interface. I'm sorry, I'm looking at an old version. I'm like, no, you're not. It was never like that. It was like that platform has never done that. Nah. Or to say, the sources on the internet are wrong. They're giving me the wrong answers. I'm like, no, they're not. You're just taking them and mashing all the answers together to come up with something. Oh, man, it was such a frustrating but very illuminating experience. It's not the first time it's happened. I've had it happen with a game too. I had it happen with Kingdom 2 Crowns, where I was playing that and I wanted to know about a particular feature and how I could unlock it and what it did. Why is it doing this? How does it work? And how did I unlock this? So I could tell a friend of mine how I did it. And it kept on giving me an answer about a dragon shrine or something, which does not exist in the game. And I'd say, that doesn't exist. Where are you getting that from? And I'd be like, no. If you go to the wiki and look it up, it's in there. It wasn't in the wiki. Nothing in the wiki. I don't know where it was pulling it from. And it was 100% adamant. And I eventually found out the right answer, typed it in and said, this is the answer. This is what I needed to know. You were useless. And it was like, yeah, no worries. I'll update my information. You are actually correct. There's no such thing as a dragon shrine or whatever it was in Kingdom 2 Crowns. I'm not sure where I got that information from. And I'm like, And I went back and asked it the same thing again a week later, and it gave me my answer. So,
interesting.
To its credit, it did take what I told it and put it into the model. So, I mean, that's a thing, but you had to do your own. So, yeah, you have to do your own homework. You definitely have to check the sources.
That's just it. I think that the real danger with these things is if you're a subject matter expert and you're using AI as a supplementary tool, that's probably fine because you're going to recognize when it's wrong, or you're going to be able to work through and evaluate the quality of what it gives you. If you're not a subject matter expert, though, and you're asking it a question on a specific topic, and it gives you an answer, how do you evaluate whether that's correct or not if you don't know what it is that you're talking about?
Yeah, it becomes built into the platforms we use, and it just gives us straight, because that's always a very confident answer. It starts giving very confident answers to people out there who just want to do their day job and whatever, and they're just going to go, okay, cool. How much is it going to screw them over?
That's my real big concern is tech literacy in general, I think is waning somewhat these days. And without that critical analysis and technical understanding of just basic computer functionality, files and folders, for example, how can you evaluate whether an AI is blowing smoke up your ass or actually giving you something genuinely useful? I don't know. I haven't got the answer. I don't know that anyone does. And that's part of the problem.
Yeah, so, doesn't do what it says on the tin, but costing us all of our money and water and RAM to come up with a very disappointing result.
This is a topic I'm sure we will be revisiting. I imagine this is going to be an ongoing theme for quite some time.
Yes, I think all of AI is complete bullshit and a waste of money, but that only slightly. Look, I want
hot takes.
If it was good, if it was bringing forth some good answers, and it was, and it would admit when it was doing the wrong thing, and it seemed like it would tell you when things were ambiguous and it wasn't sure and it hadn't found the right thing. That'd be different. If it was telling me the truth that I can't find from authoritative sources something that tells me that this is 100% right, but you could do your research here, I can help you with that. That's a different approach, right? That's a more realistic approach. I could understand and probably work with that, but a lot of them don't.
It's more interactive as well. It's not just spoon feeding you information. It's saying, here's what I know, here's what I don't know. I can guide you on how to find what I don't know. And
fucking confidently incorrect mannerism that they all have that makes them so impossible to work with, because you're like, anyway. Yeah,
and here's a hot take for the ages. I think a big part of the problem with AI these days is that the people running the companies are the wrong people to be directing this technology. I think if we were going to have a conversation about what AI needs to look like from a societal point of view for societal good, I think it would be very different to what we have currently. And I just feel the conversation is being run by the wrong people, effectively.
Yep. I don't know the answers, but there's the hot takes on that. Let's move on before we talk about AI endlessly, which is something that I could.
Let's not talk about it any further. More uplifting news. The Game Awards just recently. The Game Awards, I kind of like, whatever, but they do showcase some interesting stuff. And obviously the big news this year was 9 awards won by the French game. Clair Obscura 33, is it? Expedition 33? God, I can never get the name right.
Clair Obscura Expedition 33. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Have you played it?
Looked it up. Yeah.
No, I didn't look it up. No, I played it.
Have you?
Yeah.
Talk, because it's not my style of game. I looked at it, I was like, it looks cool, story looks kind of interesting, but it's not my jam.
If you played it, or if you're into it, then you already know what it is, so I don't need to bore your pants off about that. But it is, it's a French game.
Yes.
Very French, with JRPG type combat and gameplay mechanic.
Fairly small studio and small budget.
Fairly small studio. Good on them. They made a very popular game which seemed to play really well. It wasn't for me. It was very story driven. So the focus was on the story, and it was kind of an interesting story that was unfolding. I did enjoy that part, but I didn't like the combat at all. It was like JRPG type party-based combat with quick time events, which you could turn up or down, so you didn't have to have it all, perfectly based on, perfectly timed quick time events. But I don't like that sort of thing. So I personally didn't continue playing it. But what I did play, I enjoyed the story, and I could see that people who were into those mechanics were going to really get on board with it. And it was already quite popular when I first got into it. So I'm a little bit surprised that it won so many awards, but on the other hand, maybe not, because it was fairly unique. It did stand out as something that was interesting and different, and obviously it was popular, which is a bit of a combination. Yeah,
very explosive launch with that game. It was not one I'd ever heard of, and then all of a sudden it was everywhere. So to call it a success, I think, is an understatement. Really, it's been an absolute runaway success. And good on them for 9 awards. I believe that's the most awards ever won by a single game, beating out Baldur's Gate 3. And that was big news.
I thought it matched Baldur's Gate 3. May have beaten it. Okay.
May have to double check that, but 9 awards, I know that much, and that's like clean sweep type thing. So absolutely amazing result. They got a shout out from the French president. So hey, good news.
Yeah,
which is really cool. So success for them. Hopefully they can follow up on that with something new in the future as well. They've certainly made a splash.
They proved they can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And of course, the other thing that happens at the Game Awards often is big game announcements, new trailers game announcements and things. And one of the more interesting ones I thought amusing for a couple of reasons, Star Wars, which was announced. And I was actually reading a little bit about this yesterday. Casey Hudson, I believe, is the director, and he is of original Knights of the Old Republic fame with BioWare, but was also one of the lead directors on the Mass Effect series. And my beef with that is, from memory, and I'm sure someone will be able to correct me on this if I get it wrong, but from memory, he single-handedly changed the ending for Mass Effect 3 into the absolute debacle that was released with that game. So I'm sure he's competent at what he does, but I feel he really dropped the ball in a really, really big way there. However, we shall see what happens with that. If he's going back to his original KOTOR roots, then I'll be keen to see what it looks like.
Yep.
I'm not going to get hype about it though, because from what I've seen, they only started working on it a few months ago, so we're probably
Pre-production
at least years
very
away.
far. It's very far away. Yeah, there's nothing there. There's no game there. They wouldn't even know what they're doing yet.
No. And we've seen other Star Wars games announced and die over the last few years.
Yep, and movies.
So
the IP
just
comes and goes. Like they announce massive amounts of things, and then some of them actually come to fruition. They throw it all at the wall to see what happens, and then out of them, maybe half of them are any good. So
yeah,
it's one of those franchises.
I feel like I would call myself a Star Wars fan, but I would say I'm probably a fair weather fan, because I feel like the franchise has stagnated a bit, and I've really stepped back from it in a big way in recent years.
Most of us are in that. Most of us of our age are in the same boat. I don't know anybody personally who is very much different there. I think almost everybody is in the same boat. Very jaded, very cynical.
It is. I guess that is just the result of the Disney type model, isn't it? Where it's very much around getting the return on their investment. They paid how many? What was it? $3 billion or something for
Billions of dollars.
I'm sure they've made their money back, but there's implications for that longer term. So that was big news, but I don't know that there's really much to talk about there for the next couple of years at least. No. The other one, I'll let you mention this one because I know it's right up your alley.
Do you want to talk about Total War?
I'm going to throw you under the bus. Go on.
Worst. So I'm a massive Total War fan. Like I'm a huge, I've played Total War since the first one came out, whichever one that was. I love the historical ones. So medieval and Rome and Rome 2, definitely my favorite Total War games. Fantastic, love it. Yep. Love crashing some cavalry into the flanks. I'm not so big on the overhead map strategy game that's developed more and more as the years has gone by and become more and more a part of the game, or to the point where the tactical battles take a back seat. That's not so much my thing. It's not all that advanced. It doesn't grab me like a proper strategic battle.
It takes a lot of time away from those battles. Takes a
hell of a lot of time, and I love the battles, which are where I get the fun out of it. So I think the most recent one I played is, of course, the Warhammer one, the Warhammer Fantasy. I used to play Warhammer Fantasy on the tabletop. I was never into the lore. I just had an Empire army, and I enjoyed smashing little plastic dudes into my friends' little plastic dudes, right? Good fun. I haven't done it for years, but it was good fun. Overall, I'm not a tabletop miniatures person, though. So I didn't get into Warhammer Fantasy Total War, Total War Warhammer, for a really, really long time, until a friend nagged me down eventually, and I bought it when it was super cheap. Learned I couldn't use my Empire army unless I bought the first one as well, because that's how you do it in the Immortal. What is it? Immortal? What? Eternal? Immortal
Empires.
Immortal Empire. So that was sad. Yeah. Anyway, I ended up getting a copy of the first one recently, so now I have been playing it. The battles are great.
Got our multiplayer campaign.
We've actually got a multiplayer. That's right. We're all playing a multiplayer campaign. It's been fun. I'm enjoying it. Fantastic. However, they at the game, which is a very long way to come around to the fact that they have just announced there's going to be a 40k Total War coming out. Now, about a week ago, they said there was a new medieval one coming, which I was really excited about. I'm looking forward to that. Definitely going to play the hell out of that.
100%,
when I knew there was another one coming, I had this horrible feeling, and there was lots of rumors that it was going to be 40k, and I was extremely negative about it because I don't think 40k fits into Total War at all. So they're going to have to change the way that it works a fair bit. I'm also not a 40k fan. I do play a couple of 40k games like Darktide, but overall 40k is not my jam. So good on them for making something that's probably going to be really popular. It's an obvious choice. It's probably going to make a decent amount of money. I know friends of mine who are really into 40k. Super excited by that announcement. We almost had contrasting reactions, where a friend of mine said he yelled for joy when he heard that was confirmed, and I said I sighed and rolled my eyes. at least they're not just doing that. That's being done by another team, like Creative Assembly or something. The guys who do Total War in general, I think they're working. Their focus is actually on the medieval, so Total War medieval. So really, my end opinion is I don't particularly care. It's not taking away from the type of Total War that I love. And I guess it's not really a hot take, but my personal opinion is I sort of grew out of Total War style of overhead and tactical combat a long time ago. So I do enjoy it, but I haven't bought a Total War game unless I've been badgered into it for quite a while. It's a formula that is still very much the same as it was 15, 20 years ago, right? It's overall
fundamentally
settings have changed, but the way you play is the same. Still fun, but not something I'd put my gaming dollars into. Unless something badges me to. So I'm definitely not interested in the 40k one. That's a very much
fair.
no thanks.
Not your cup of tea, and that's totally fair. I think that the historic games have definitely been my preference as well. I've got, I think, most of them, with the exception of maybe Troy over the years. Just buy them at a discount or whatever. I did enjoy the fantasy Warhammer 1, 2, and obviously now 3. Played a lot of those over the years. 40k is a funny one. I enjoy the 40k universe, but here's a real hot take, which will piss some people off. I think Space Marines are fucking stupid. There, I said it. Okay, it's dumb. I don't like them. I like the Inquisition, Rogue Traders, Imperial Guard. The nitty gritty, right? The little underdog dude who has a lifespan of 17 seconds on the battlefield, or whatever the case may be. The Ultramarines and that, I just find them, personally, I just find it dull and boring. It's, there you go, Space Marine. Yay!
Space Marine, the classic.
Classic, yeah. I mean, the lore around it with the Emperor and his sons and all that sort of stuff, that's fine. I don't mind that as background lore, but just the nature of Space Marines, I just find it dull. I'm far more interested in the nitty gritty stuff. So the Dark Tide side of 40k appeals to me greatly in terms of tabletop roleplay. The latest Imperium Maledictum, which is very much focused around the Inquisition and being a real scrub at the bottom of the pile. That shit is cool. So 40k Total War, I don't know. I'm ambivalent on that. There you go, Inquisitor.
I haven't got Inquisitor.
You got it. Yeah, nice work. I haven't got any of my books near.
They're the only Warhammer books I own. No, sorry. They're the only Warhammer books I own too. So apart from like the Warhammer Fantasy book, which you pretty can't. Oh no, it's in frame. Yes. That's the Warhammer Fantasy book.
Yes.
And my Empires book.
Yes.
They're the only Warhammer things I own. I'm not a Warhammer person.
I run a table role play, not miniatures game on Mondays with fantasy, but we have done the 40k in the past. So I mean, Total War 40k is going to have the Space Marines. I mean, that's going to be a core part of the game.
Yeah, most people are going to be down for that.
I kind of. Yeah, absolutely. And hey, no problem with that. I get it. It's appealing for a lot of people. It's not my cup of tea.
Sure.
I may get it, but it will very much depend on how that gameplay actually works for a 40k universe. Like, is each settlement going to be a planet versus individual settlements on a planet?
I believe so. I think
from what I've seen,
that's what I've heard.
That is what it looks like.
Yep.
I don't know how well that's going to pan out in terms of, if you've got a ship going through the warp. How are you going to have a tactical battle intercepting another ship? I don't know. These sorts of things I look at and go, I'm not sure how well that fits, but I'll take a look at it when it comes out. Dawn of War 4 was recently announced as well, which is a tactical 40k game, and that's, again, very much around Space Marines type stuff.
Love that game and have ever since they were very small, like when the first ones were out. They've always loved Dawn of War.
Yeah, great games. The third one, not so, but fourth one, I don't know, new developers, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken. But again, it's like, well, how much of a differentiation is there going to be between Dawn of War 4 and Total War 40k? Because I imagine Dawn of War 4 is going to be expanding into more of that sort of territory type capture, not just the tactical battles, but more of that overarching campaign. So are they going to be different enough? I don't know. We'll see. It's great to see more content in this space because Warhammer has historically had a really shitty reputation with video games, so it's nice to see some really consistent ones hitting the mark in recent years. It
feels like there's been more of a focus on the quality of what's coming out rather than just shoveling, because they've always made lots of games, rather than just shoveling out, Warhammer game after Warhammer game that are all like very solidly meh.
That was big news. Perhaps not the best kept secret. I think the Reddit was going on and on about it for weeks beforehand.
Everybody thought it was. Hey, look, a lot of people are very excited about it, so that's fantastic for them. And I hope it comes out and it's everything they've dreamed of. And who knows, one day it might be $20, just like Warhammer, Total War Warhammer was.
Campaign for the hell of it.
And I'll pick it up. $20 is $20. The new game that I was excited about. I'm not going to say very much about it because I haven't really looked into it. Is a new game by the guys behind Soma and those sort of horror walking games, walking simulators. I love a good walking simulator. I always have. Some of my favorite, most memorable games are walking simulators. Soma is my favorite game of all time. I can't think of another game that I enjoyed as much.
High praise, yeah, nice.
Which is it's up there with What Remains of Edith Finch. If you know about that or have ever played
Yes,
that
I know
game
what you mean.
was
Yep.
fucking epic. That was a fantastic game as well. Again, just a walking simulator, but with a great story, great visuals, and excellent gameplay. So if you're into that sort of thing, this is an exciting one. These guys have made some pretty decent games apart from Soma, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm sorry I can't remember what it was called because I don't really want to pay much attention to it yet because it's probably a little
fair.
while away, right? So
you want to have that surprise when it comes out.
Well,
But the
surprise.
cover art that they showed, I saw that, and that
Yep.
that drew me in immediately. It looked really funky.
Yeah.
Kind of cyberpunkish. Really, yeah, really cool. So that alone, if that's the sort of visual style they're going for, I'm going to be watching it.
Yeah,
for sure.
They're really good at coming up with interesting spaces. Really interesting spaces and lore, and take you to interesting places, and particularly with Soma, with some really great philosophical stuff behind what it means to be conscious. Moving along from that, because there's not much more to say about that other than I'm personally excited about it, is there is a new Divinity game coming.
Yes.
From Larian. I think everybody assumed their next project was going to be another Divinity game, which is fantastic.
I think that was a given.
I fucking love the original
Sin.
Sin.
Working on a sci-fi game of some sort is the
Are they?
What I've seen. I'm not 100% certain, but I have seen some chatter around that. So
right.
I don't know. Watch that space maybe, but Divinity, yeah, hell yeah. Return to the lore of Divinity is I'm all over it. I mean, Baldur's Gate was
great game,
lightning in a bottle. It was an amazing release, absolutely unprecedented effort. That particular game, I think, to me, that's one of the greatest games ever created. And there's a lot of games that I would put right up there with it. But Baldur's Gate 3, and certainly in modern times, is an absolute
modern classic, absolute modern classic.
Yeah, definitely. But Divinity has a very special place for me, at least. Dating right back to the first couple of Divinity games. Original Sin obviously being a lot more recent, much like Fallout. These games date back a long
Divine
time.
Divinity goes back to the 90s or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I can find my CRPG book up here, one of my favorite books, by the way, CRPG book. The very first one, that's when I learned that there were a lot older versions of Divinity that I was only very vaguely aware of, when I read this book.
Surprisingly.
Being a
European developer, they would have had a very Eurojank market, which
100%
kind of sort of broke into the English-speaking market with, I guess, the likes of Gothic, perhaps. With way back in the day. But yeah, a lot of those, like Sacred was the ARPG, the Eurojank ARPG of the same sort of era.
Yep, I remember that.
Great games, but seeing them creating a new one in that series is just brilliant. I'm so keen to see more on that one.
I've never played them single player either. I've played all of them. So Original Sin 2, and Baldur's Gate 3, I played all of them co-op, multiplayer only. I have never soloed. I've soloed bits and pieces where I've started another game solo and I've started going through it. I'm not having as much fun. This is a sort of game that really clicks with me in terms of the multiplayer experience. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to co-oping the hell out of that with 2-3 other friends, where we'll have a grand old time blowing things up.
I'm sure it will. Yeah, I'm sure it'll deliver on that nicely. Although it depends if they do that same sort of CRPG style isometric camera view as they did with Original Sin 1 and 2 and Baldur's Gate. Obviously, that will be one thing. If they go back to the likes of what was it, Divinity 2, I think it was, Dragon Knight, which was more of a third person.
That's Divine Divinity from 2002.
There you go.
Yeah, and that
2002. That's right.
So that look, like you say, that was different. It was a different point of view.
That was more for those familiar with Diablo. That was very much the same sort of look in terms of camera feel, camera cut. Then you had Divinity 2, which was their third person RPG back in about 2011, 12ish, I think it was, maybe a bit earlier than that. So it depends on where they go with the direction of the game. Are they going to stick with that Original Sin Baldur's Gate style top-down camera, or are they going to perhaps go back to that more classic action RPG camera over the shoulder type thing? I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. Either way, I'm all over it.
100%. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a really long way away, so I wouldn't expect to play that any sooner than the next 5 or 6 years.
No, agreed. But watch the space.
We'll
be on episode, I don't know, 40 something by then, so we'll definitely be picking up on it.
The 50th episode special will be about it coming out in early access. Something we don't want to talk about again and may never ever bring up again is fucking War Thunder Infantry.
We totally will bring it up again. God damn it.
Yeah, probably will. So War Thunder. I'm gonna talk about it because I think you're even angrier than I am about this topic. So they recently announced that they're going to be creating an infantry mode. Now, it's a separate infantry mode. It's not as part of the realistic ground battles. So you don't have infantry coming in there and throwing, a Panzer Shrek at you. Right, that's not actually what's happening. They're making their own version. It looks very much like Battlefield. And from all the information, I sent through a link earlier. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, which had a breakdown of what they're going to do with the playtest, what's going to be included, what the gameplay is like. Yep. And it sounds exactly like Battlefield. Like I don't know what the game modes are.
Quite surprised. Well, surprised, shocked. I don't know. It just how one-to-one almost it was looking like. Seriously?
The way it was sounding, the screenshots they had, the little bits of video, snippets that they showed of gameplay, it's starting in a couple of days, the play tests. So it's very far along. People have talked about there being infantry for a long time. It's funny, if you go on the Gaijin website and you read about this, read comments on the stuff, on the articles they post, super positive. Everyone is so stoked for it, right? Obviously very curated comments. If you go elsewhere, although I haven't dug into a lot, but all the feedback I've got from other Warhammer Thunder players is, the fuck is this for? Like,
pretty much shrug, right?
Why are you doing this? What? I don't want to play that. I'll go play Battlefield. Why would I play your... Like, Enlisted already exists and already sucks. Oh, it sounds the same, right? So Enlisted, you're in charge of an AI squad and you tell your AI guys where to go, right? I don't like Enlisted very much.
No, likewise.
This is the same. If you read the blurbs, this is the same. Like, you've got an AI squad, you and your AI squad, and you tell them where to go. And I'm not even sure if you squad up with your friends or if you're just on the same team and you coordinate, right? But you coordinate your AI guys. And a lot of people's negative comments were around that. Like, can I not lone wolf this? Do I always have to babysit a bunch of AI? Like, how is this going to work if I'm not into that?
I really don't quite understand the reason for it existing, to be honest.
No.
We already have Enlisted, which, like you, I look at it and go, whatever. It didn't play very well, in my opinion. The grind for unlocking gear and units was just terrible. Even worse than War Thunder, I reckon. But nobody asked for this, really, in this concept, I don't think. I don't know if you recall, there was that World War I event earlier in the year where they actually introduced infantry into the World War I maps, but it was AI infantry, so you could shoot them with your tank, and they had to capture points. You cleared the way, and then your infantry would capture the point, sort of thing, or hold the point, or whatever.
Yeah, and I didn't play.
And it just, probably a good thing. It didn't. I don't think it worked particularly well.
Yeah, fair enough.
It just didn't really fit. World War I was primarily an infantry war, so having the tanks there it just didn't really work in terms of gameplay. But introducing a infantry mode into War Thunder battles, which I think is what most people probably thought about when talking infantry in War Thunder, would be an absolute clusterfuck, in my opinion. I just can't see that working very well. So having it as a separate mode, certainly preferable, because then I can just ignore it completely. But when you consider the state of War Thunder, the game, the various issues it has, the balance issues, the lack of gameplay, and I don't know if you saw that video I sent you, the chief developer answering questions. It's abundantly clear that Gaijin have no interest in actually changing the way War Thunder works to make it more interesting. They're all about players want instant action, so we're going to make corridors. That basically is what it boiled down to. So
things
disappointing.
Together. They don't understand their market, I reckon. So plenty of games
I
like
agree.
this already exist, right? So there's not a lot of points of differentiation. The only reason that War Thunder does any good is because no other game really exists that fills that niche properly. Like World of Tanks is trash, and their playing stuff is terrible.
It has been for a while.
I think people play it, but it's very arcadey.
There's no real competition.
So that's what draws that in, right? So that's where they get their players and their money, and people still complain about that. There just isn't another one. They came along with a great product at the right time when they came out with the plane side of it way back when. And then they brought the tanks thing out. Again, nothing really exists like that, so they've captured that market, and so people keep playing. We keep playing it. I love tanks, so I play that game.
Likewise.
If there was another one, I'd play that instead. Another good one, I'd play that instead. 100%. Right. Whereas there's no reason for it to exist at all. So it's just bizarre that they're gonna shoehorn it into the War Thunder interface.
Well, it's competing with I mean, Battlefield for a start.
Established games that people already would rather play.
You've also got Squad. You've also got Armor, obviously. You know, if you wanted a simulation style first-person shooter combined arms.
Hell Let Loose already exists.
Hell Let Loose.
You know, there's World War II versions. Postscriptum exists. Like, these things all exist. There's stacks of them. Some of them have done better than others.
Yeah.
But why would people play this one? I won't be. I will hopefully get into the playtest so I can give it a go and complain about it in a future podcast. But
yeah, exactly. Content, right?
Maybe it'll be fantastic. Let's, being the devil's advocate, maybe it will be fantastic. Maybe they've nailed the Battlefield formula. Maybe they'll come along and they'll have all these modes and this new.
We may well be eating our words.
You don't look very convinced.
Look, if it comes down to that, fantastic. Maybe it will be good enough, and I'll eat my words and enjoy it. But as it stands with their history, their reputation, I just don't really see good things for it personally, which is a shame. The way I look at it now is cost benefit, right? The cost of this is lack of development on War Thunder.
God, yeah, because it doesn't make a whole bunch of dollars of its own, and then they try to throw money into it. Those resources will have to come out of an existing product if it's not financing itself. So
exactly. Moving on from War Thunder, because we hate to love it, love to hate it. You've got another hot take you want to spill.
Yeah, look, we've got a couple of subjects left, and then we're done.
Let's go.
There's continued rumors of Half-Life 3 coming out when the Steam machines come out in the northern spring 2026. So that's autumn for us in the south, or I don't know how many countries call it fall, but the season that comes before winter. So that's only in a quarter, right? Maybe 2 quarters.
It's not far away.
When they're going to bring them out, their biggest fear is going to be, of course, the cost of memory pushing the price of the Steam machines up. That's probably what they're sitting around going, oh crap, how do we solve this? Maybe we start making our own RAM. The continuing rumors of Half-Life 3 coming out, and people quite confidently saying, I have spoken to people at Valve who have said it's a project that you can play from beginning to end. It's basically been done because they cracked what they wanted to do. They wanted to have an all-new technology, and that's what they always want. They don't just want to release the same thing. They always want to have an all-new technology that blows people's minds that's never been done before. Apparently, that's what they've done.
I've heard rumors to the same effect. Yeah, someone saying that core tech that they've been working on has finally been delivered. So
and they now they've got that thing to put in that will make it a unique experience. I can't even remember what it was now. It was something pretty cool, but if anybody does remember, feel free to put it in the comments. I 100% calling it. Yeah, didn't I say Half-Life 3 was coming out? I think I said Half-Life 3 VR.
You did.
Definitely, I've already called it. So if it does come out, you can definitely make sure that you come back to this podcast on a monthly basis to catch all of your 100% true announcements.
And accurate. Yeah, exactly.
Have we got one wrong yet? No.
If that is the case, that'll be pretty amazing. I mean, holy crap! It better be God tier, because after so long, the hype around it without a game existing, the hype has been insane. If it can be another showcase of a core tech that is amazing and breakthrough, then man, we could be staring down the barrel of something really quite fantastic.
Only Skyrim strikes me as the game that gave so much to me in terms of extended lifetime with mods and all that sort of thing. Half-Life 2 was like that. So many games 100%. That I remember from the early 2000s-ish, the 2010, were based off of Half-Life 2. So many awesome mods and games that went on to be their own thing. It just boggles my mind when I think back to that.
The Source engine itself was also
Source engine being used for so many things.
Yeah, was the core for so many great games. Vampire the Masquerade. I mean, that was one of the key gaming experiences in my earlier years, and that was one of the first Source 2 games, and it was amazing.
100%. That's what I want out of it.
But amazing.
Oh, that's jank as hell. Really what I want out of it. That's my Half-Life 3 dream, is that I finish the game and it's fantastic and the tech's great. But then it goes on to spawn a whole bunch of other content that I can play for the next 10 years.
10 years. It's that whole ecosystem that comes around it. Yeah, I'm with you there. It's definitely something that potentially could bring us back to some of that sort of golden era of community content, which would be amazing.
Wouldn't that be fantastic to see?
It would be nice. Yeah.
Brilliant. And lastly, why don't you talk about the greatest disappointment of your year?
I am so gutted about this because it was a whole thing planned. We were going to have a great time. Some of us are metalheads in the TOG community. There's a good core of us. We like our metal. And Parkway Drive, classic Australian metal band, been around the traps for a number of years. I saw them at Wacken back in 2019. I went to their first ever Parkwaves festival in Dresden last year, funnily enough, and they had announced a big tour for Australia, Parkwaves Festival throughout Australia. I think it was eight or nine shows, and planning to head over to Aussie and catch it, because here in old Kiwi land we don't get jack shit. So
no, we get it.
The news, however, about a week ago, that it has been cancelled, and not just one or two events, but the entire tour has been ditched. The whole thing has been burnt to the ground, and that is just so gutting. Fortunately, I hadn't paid for all of the tickets and things, so I haven't lost any money on that, thank goodness. But that is just yet another blow to the metal community in terms of big events that have not come to fruition. New Zealand has lost pretty much everything in that regard. We had Sabaton here earlier this year, a couple of months ago, but aside from that, we don't really get anything unless you're the size of Tool or Metallica.
Yeah.
And, you know, Tool and Metallica, don't get me wrong, they're great, but it's not the metal I enjoy these days.
No.
And I was really looking forward to seeing Parkway Drive again, along with a couple of other great Aussie bands. North Lane, I think, was one of them, if I'm not mistaken.
North Lane was one, yeah.
Was it Amity Affliction was going to be there as well?
From memory, yep. All bands I've seen before, and that's one of the reasons why it probably didn't take off, because he's a great Australian metalcore and the like bands, right? That everybody in Australia has already seen, and you can see almost any time you want when they're in the country. So even if you're not massive fans of them, I've seen them all. I'm like them, not the biggest Parkway Drive, not the biggest North Lane fan, but I've seen them live, and I've seen them live at festivals.
Yeah.
And I think they're cool. And I was only going because you were going to go. So for me, if I didn't see him now, I could see him again in another festival.
No problem. Yeah,
there's multiple metal festivals. There's also multiple metal festivals, like Froth and Fury is the month before. I'm going to Froth and Fury at the end of January.
The other thing that surprised me was Till Lindemann is doing, of Rammstein fame, for those who know Rammstein, lead singer. Till Lindemann is doing his solo tour in Australia at the same weekend, I think, for you that Froth and Fury is on, which I was like, wow, okay. I mean, he's not doing big arenas or stadiums like he does over in Europe, of course, but the fact that he's got enough interest to do a tour of Australia and Parkway Drive don't, I find that kind of interesting, but different scope, different scale. Destroy All Lines, I'm calling you out. You guys suck.
You guys suck. go with the whatever it was that does Froth and Fury. It's Disruptive, I think, or Disruptive Productions, I think might be the Froth and Fury. I'm sorry if I've just got your
those
name
guys.
Wrong. Not that you guys will be watching this anyway.
Yeah.
Well, they've pulled off a festival that's only got bigger and bigger over time. So.
Well, here's hoping I can wrangle the timing to get over for that instead, because, you know, that's the sort of stuff I love is festivals where you got multiple bands. You know, you go along, you're not just seeing one big headline act, you're seeing a dozen.
Furious dozens.
Bands.
Yeah, great. 20 plus bands there, so you've got a whole day with three or four different stages. Yeah,
you know, I've talked about this. We've talked about this offline before. Obviously, you know, that's the thing I love about European festivals is you've got 3, 4, 5 days of just this absolute incredible lineup, and you go there, you live there for the week, and you just have the most amazing experience. And you come back to New Zealand and you go, cool.
What do I do now?
I'll wait till the next trip.
it's you know Sepultura. Everyone pronounces Sepultura's name differently, right? It's supposed to be Sepultura because a tomb is called a Sepultura.
It's like GIF/GIF, isn't it?
A tomb is called a Sepultura. That's what they base their name on. But let's move aside from that. They're touring their very last tour ever. They're disbanding, and this is their farewell tour. Are they coming to New Zealand?
That's actually a good question. I had seen news about that, but I hadn't.
I know they're coming here. It's supposed to be a great big world tour, final tour. You know, that's it. Australia. Oh, yeah, look. Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and then Daytona Beach. I think the odds of them coming back to New Zealand are slim.
Yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. So sounds like it'll have to be an Australian trip. For those not in the Australia-New Zealand little bubble, it's about a 3.5-hour flight from New Zealand to Australia. So it's not too bad. You can go over for a weekend and back, which is
call it.
The problem is the price.
Look, if you guys would just accept your fate as Southeastern Australia, it wouldn't be a problem. You could get cheaper flights, easier to get in.
We had this very discussion the other day. New Zealand is the North Island, the South Island, and the West Island, okay? And as soon as you guys accept it, we'll be good.
All right, and I think that's all we've got time for today. That's the hottest of hot takes, obviously.
Absolutely. Right. Well, yes, plenty more to talk about, obviously, coming up. We'll be taking a break, obviously, as most of our members will, I imagine, for the holidays.
All new year, 2026.
There'll be some...
Plenty of new exciting things to talk about next year.
We'll find topics to talk about, but
definitely.
until then, we shall sign off here. So thank you everyone for watching/listening, wherever you may be, whatever flavor of holiday you enjoy at this time of year. I hope everyone has a fantastic time, safe time. Look after yourselves, friends and family. Get lots of gaming in, unless the weather's fine. Unless, in that case, touch grass.
Yeah, that's it. Go outside a little bit. Look at the sun. Don't look directly at the sun though. Just in general.
Don't look directly. No. Hopefully everyone has a great time, and we'll be back in the new year with another episode of Hot Takes. 100% truthful facts.
100% truthful facts and some other stuff we make
fantastic reviews. Exactly.
100%.
So, yes, thank you, everyone. Foxman, I will see you in the new year.
I've been Gavor, and I'll see you in the new year. Enjoy.